Hi, this is Rhonda. This is our motivational interview with the mandated client number 2. This is Caitlin, and here we go. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi.
How you doing? I'm Rhonda.
I'm pretty
What
good.
brings you in today?
Well, I was mandated by the court for popping oxys.
So you're here because you got caught with some medication that didn't belong to you?
Pretty much.
Pretty much? Okay. All right. Well, first of all, I appreciate you coming in. That's the first step of realizing there was a problem. I know that you don't want to be here. How do you feel about wanting to be here?
I think it's dumb.
I can see where you could think that. Is there anything that you want to talk about today that possibly would, why you feel like you need to pop oxys?
No, I believe that that's my business.
Well, I understand that too. I hear you saying that you don't really want to share. Maybe we can talk about some of your feelings.
I guess there's been a lot of problems going on at home.
What kind of problems?
Just a lot of fighting. I
So
got fired from my job.
I can see where that's causes some problems. So when you get these oxys, how do they make you feel?
Numb, better.
So it helps you kind of escape from reality a little bit. What are some of the pros that you might have when it comes to taking medication that might not be prescribed for you?
Depends on what you mean.
What's some of the benefits that you think comes out of taking medication that doesn't belong to you?
Well, there really isn't any benefits behind it. Just something I wanted to do.
So you don't feel like it's gives you any purpose to take them? Are you aware of any cons or negative responses to taking OxyContin?
Just tired.
They make you tired? Okay, I understand that as well. Some of the side effects of OxyContin can be tiredness, lethargic. Of course, you'll test positive for a drug test, and also it reaps the problem that if you get caught with somebody else's prescription, then it can be jail time or a fine. And as you can see, that's why you're here, because you've been mandated by the court to be here. Is there anything that we can talk about that would help you deal with some of your problems? Maybe your job, for an instant. Is there any kind of goals that you'd like to make to maybe try to find a new job?
I don't know, maybe.
What's some of the jobs that you've tried to apply for recently?
Gas stations, grocery stores.
Mm-hmm. What's some of the skills, the skill set that you might have? Like qualifications.
I don't know, I like to think I'm a good worker.
Mm-hmm. So you've applied at a few gas stations, and the fact that you feel that you're a good worker possibly might get you a job. Have you taken any kind of training?
No.
No kind of training? Okay. Would you be interested in some resources for some job training?
Maybe.
They have some local jobs corps and things like that to give you different kinds of options. And also, how are your resume building skills?
They're alright.
Yeah. Have you had any classes on how to write a resume?
Yeah.
Okay. How did that work out for you?
Pretty well.
Okay. What's some other things that you might want to do besides working at a gas station?
I don't know, work at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm. What kind of things you like to do at a restaurant?
Maybe be the cook.
So, besides the gas station, you'd like to work at a restaurant and be a cook, okay? All right. Did you finish high school?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so you have your high school diploma. Okay. Let's talk about some of the other things. You said there's been some fighting at your house. So, is this fighting, does this involve you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What happens on those particular days that you fight?
I get beat.
You get beat?
What are you doing?
Okay. So, who do you live at home with?
My husband.
Mm-hmm. So, your husband's very abusive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what happens after he physically abuses you? Do you leave the home or do you stay?
I shut myself in a room.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that upsets you? Yeah. Have you gotten any counseling for that?
No.
No. How do you feel about getting some counseling for that?
I could give it a try.
Yeah. How long you guys been married?
8 years.
8 years. How long has he been abusive?
About half of that.
About half of that. Is it something happened that it turned that, or
He's an alcoholic.
he's an alcoholic? So he gets pretty upset and drunk and then takes it out on you. Okay. Do you have any place safe that you can go when he drinks?
No.
You don't have a family member or a relative or a best friend?
I'm not social with family.
Okay. Well, there's some places out there. Locally, we have, it's called a Eve shelter. It's a domestic violence shelter. And you can call and they can give you a safe place for a few days to stay. They also offer some counseling, some beneficial resources and things like that might be able to help you. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
No. Too worried that he'd find me.
Well, I understand that you have the fear of him finding you, but this is it's a safe place. It's designated. The address is not public. They can pick you up in a secure place and take you there, and then you will be under surveillance cameras. The doors are guarded and things like that. The only way he would know where you were is if you told him, and that's in violation of the domestic violence shelter. No one is to have the address. There's a lot of young ladies there, a lot of children. Do you guys have children?
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, so you came here today because you're mandated because you got caught with some OxyContin. And I appreciate you taking that step. This is probably going to be like a 6-week course, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of goals and things that we can discuss. One of the goals that we've talked about is possibly getting you a job at a gas station or a restaurant. Maybe finding you some resources to help with job resumes, job skills, things like that. We've also talked about the abuse at home and maybe getting some counseling, or at least you'll have a safe place to go to if something comes out and you need to go to the abuse shelter. Is there anything else that you can think about that might be a concern on some of the negative aspects of taking pills if you don't have a job? How do you financially support buying pills?
I bum money off people.
You bum money off people. Is it your friends or your family?
Friends mainly.
Okay. Do you have any positive friends that you could go to that maybe wouldn't support the habit, or maybe would encourage you?
No.
No. Do you have any kind of organization, belong to any kinds of organizations of different kinds of groups that possibly could help?
No.
Okay, well, there's a few groups out there too if you were interested. It's people that have been in your certain situation. It's called Narcotics Association, and they offer support groups to people that are seeking treatment. Usually they have like the 12-step program, like the Alcoholics Anonymous groups. Is that something you might be interested in?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you have any other concerns or fears of trying to deal with your situation at home? No. So how do you feel about coming here? Is this something you're going to be able to do and continue for 6 weeks?
Maybe.
Okay. So maybe this week, before we see you next time, we can recap on some things, and maybe you can write down a few things that might you might be interested in to focus more on, such as your job as well. If there's any kind of applications that you might need help with, or any other kind of questions on job resources, if you could write them down and maybe bring them to the next session. That way I can get a little bit more. I know you're overwhelmed right now. I can tell by your expression, and that way I can help you focus a little bit more on some positive aspects that maybe you wouldn't feel such in the dumps about not having the things that you're stressing out about, such as a job or you're fighting at home. And we'll try to work on those as two separate issues. So I appreciate you coming in today. And do you have any other questions or concerns at this time?
No.
Okay. I do, like I said, I want to thank you for coming in. So until we'll see you next week, okay? All right. Thank you.